From the Presidential Palace, Manila, Dateline Malacañang.
Good day. This is Dateline Malacañang. The 2024 Asia-Pacific Ministerial Conference for Disaster Risk Reduction, or APM-CDRR, formally opened on Monday, October 14th, with the aim to strengthen cooperation in times of calamities. This is the first time the Philippines will host the APM-CDRR, which will be held at the Philippine International Convention Center, or PICC, in Pasay City from the 14th to the 18th of October. According to the Department of Environment and Natural Resources, or DENR, more than 4,000 representatives from governments, international and civil society organizations, the private sector, academe and stakeholder groups from 69 countries will be participating in the conference. Environment Secretary Maria Antonia Yuloizaga pointed out that the ministerial conference aims to provide local government units, or LGUs, a platform and network that will focus on attaining disaster resilience by the year 2030. The conference will tackle initiatives and global practices to improve disaster response and limit dangers during disasters. President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. is expected to attend at the courtesy call and ministerial dinner. The APM-CDRR is a biennial event spearheaded by the United Nations Office for Disaster Risk Reduction, or UNDRR.
Dateline Malacañang.
In a related story, the Philippine National Police, or PNP, on Monday announced the suspension of permit to carry firearms outside residence, or PTC-4, in Metro Manila this week. The suspension of the PTC-4 came due to the country's hosting of the Asia-Pacific Ministerial Conference on Disaster Risk Reduction, or APM-CDRR, which will be attended by thousands of delegates. In a memorandum released by PNP Chief Romel Francisco Marbil, the suspension will last until the morning of October 18th. Only on-duty members of the Armed Forces of the Philippines, or AFP, the PNP, and other law enforcement agencies will be allowed to carry firearms. The order aims to ensure the safety of those who will attend the activity and prevent firearm-related incidents. Malacañang earlier suspended government work and classes at all levels in the cities of Manila and Pasay from the 14th to the 15th of October for the country's hosting of the APM-CDRR.
Dateline Malacañang.
Philippine House Speaker Martin Romualdez over the weekend congratulated President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. on his successful and productive participation at the 44th and 45th Association of Southeast Asian Nations, or ASEAN Summits and related summits, which was held from the 9th to the 11th of October in Vientiane, Laos People's Democratic Republic, or PDR. According to Speaker Romualdez, the President's diplomatic strategy helped promote the country's interest, particularly solidifying support to the country's call to promote international law, especially the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Seas, or UNCLOS, and a peaceful resolution to the South China Sea dispute. Romualdez said President Marcos's contribution also strengthened the agreement between ASEAN member states to broaden the economic cooperation that will create more investments and jobs for Filipinos. The House Speaker said the Chief Executive's adept handling of the Philippines-ASEAN engagements has once again demonstrated his strong leadership and unwavering commitment to protecting and promoting the nation's interests on the international stage. Romualdez added that President Marcos Jr.'s engagements contributed towards expanded economic cooperation not only among ASEAN member states but also with its dialogue partners. The House leader also recognized Shera Public Company Limited's interest to fund 2.9 billion pesos worth of investments in the Philippines, particularly in fiber cement building materials, after their meeting with the President. Speaker Romualdez added the important role that President Marcos played during discussions that strengthened the collective response of ASEAN relating to calamities, which is a critical issue to the Philippines, as well as his perseverance to increase the country's status in ASEAN. Romualdez said the President's leadership has once again secured vital agreements and strengthened the country's diplomatic relations, which will benefit the Filipino people for years to come.
Dateline Malacañang.
The administration of Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. honored Filipino workers from the creatives industries during the launch of the two-day Bagong Pilipinas Serbisyo Fair, or BPSF. Around 23 government agencies took part in the special BPSF that started Sunday with the theme Paglinang sa Industriya ng Paglikha, or in English, Cultivating the Creatives Industry. Besides the 100 programs and services amounting to 75 million pesos provided by the Department of Social Welfare and Development, or DSWD, under the Ayuda para sa Kapos ang Kita program, or AKAP, 75,000 kilograms of rice will also be distributed during the two-day fair to around 15,000 beneficiaries. Metropolitan Manila Development Authority, or MMDA Chair Don Artes, meanwhile, thanked President Marcos Jr., First Lady Liza Araneta Marcos, and House Speaker Martin Romualdez with the help of the creatives industry that was severely affected by the pandemic and is now starting to recover. In the meantime, Cavite Representative Lani Mercado Revilla emphasized that the Philippine movie and television industry needs the assistance to develop the creatives industry amid the changes brought about by technology.
Dateline Malacañang.
In other news, the Philippines Department of Migrant Workers, or DMW, over the weekend said the investigation into the death of 32-year-old Filipino nurse Reyna Jane Ancheta, who was found dead on a highway in Abu Dhabi after going missing for 3 days, is still ongoing. In a news forum in Quezon City, DMW Secretary Leo Magpayo said the Philippine government will sponsor the flight of her husband, Kenneth Paul, to the United Arab Emirates or UAE so that he could personally observe the probe until her remains can be repatriated. She left behind a 12-year-old son and a 7-year-old daughter. She would have turned 33 on December 11th. Kakdak said the repatriation of the remains of Ancheta depends on how long the investigation would take, adding that what the agency can do at the moment is to bring her husband to UAE so he can witness the investigation and the process of her repatriation. Earlier, Nueva Vizcaya-based Kenneth Paul said he could not contact her wife since October 6th and was later informed by her agency that she died in a car accident. Kenneth Paul fears a cover-up as he recalled his wife telling him she was often scared when returning every evening to her dormitory. UAE news outlet Khaleej Times reported that Reina arrived in August and started her job at Al Raiya Home Healthcare. She used to work in Saudi Arabia.
Dateline Malacañang.
Meanwhile, the Philippines Department of Migrant Workers or DMW assured that overseas Filipino workers or OFWs who return to the country from Lebanon will receive immediate financial help from the agency. 9 OFWs who voluntarily availed the government's repatriation program arrived over the weekend. Each of the OFWs received 75,000 pesos financial assistance from the DMW's Action Fund and an additional 75,000 pesos from the Overseas Workers Welfare Administration or OWA on top of the 20,000 peso livelihood assistance from the Department of Social Welfare and Development or DSWD and skills training vouchers from the Technical Education and Skills Development Authority or TESDA. DMW Secretary Hans Leo Kakdak said that all of the necessary support needed by the repatriates for their productive reintegration were given to them. According to the DMW, from October of 2023, a total of 442 OFWs, including 28 dependents, have returned to the country from Lebanon due to the increasing tension in the area.
Dateline Malacañang.
In other news, the Philippine Air Force or PAF and the Philippine Army or PA have concluded their highly anticipated Interoperability Exercise or IOX 03-24 to enhance synergy and refine joint combat and tactical operations. In a statement over the weekend, PAF Public Affairs Chief Colonel Maria Consuelo Castillo said, the 5-day joint military exercise at the 5th Infantry Division in Camp Melchor de la Cruz in Gamo Town, Isabela Province, showcased both forces' enhanced capabilities and commitment to seamless operational integration. With over 1,000 participants from both the PAF and PA, the exercise is already in its 3rd installment. It featured an array of complex training scenarios, including command post exercises or CPX, subject matter expert exchanges or SMEE, and field training exercises or FTX. Castillo said the activities were designed to refine joint combat and tactical operations, underscored the Philippine military's readiness for coordinated missions across multiple domains. Major General Guliber Senires, commander of the 5th Infantry Division, presided over the closing ceremony, lauding the troops for their dedication and professionalism throughout the exercise. Senires emphasized that the lessons learned and relationships built during the IOX 03-24 will serve as a foundation for future joint operations, enhancing the armed forces' ability to respond to evolving security challenges. The closing event culminated in a high-impact capability demonstration, featuring elite maneuvers such as military freefall, fast roping, bundle drops, hoist or medical evacuations, and mechanized infantry operations that highlighted the synergy between the Air Force and Army. Meanwhile, the PAF continues to provide logistical support to the ongoing relief efforts in the province of Batanes following the recent onslaught of Typhoon Julian. Castillo said the PAF's Tactical Operations Group, or TOG-2, under the Tactical Operations Wing Northern Luzon, or TOWNOL, facilitated another relief operation in Sabtang Island last Friday. Utilizing the PAF's so-called helicopter, TOG-2 transported a total of 10 personnel from the Department of Social Welfare and Development, or DSWD, and 60 kilograms of vital medicines to support recovery efforts in the island.
Dateline Malacañang.
The Philippines' state-run social insurance program has announced the appointment of Commissioner Robert Joseph Declaro as its new officer in charge following the resignation of Rolando Ledesma Macasait earlier this month. The decision was made by the Social Security Commission, or SSC, the policy-making body of the Social Security System, or SSS. Declaro, who has served in the SSC since January 11th of 2023, representing the employers group, brings a strong background to his new role. As commissioner, he chaired the Information Technology and Collection and Contribution Committee and participated in key committees covering audit, risk, investment, and governance. Declaro has been a member of the board of Union Bank and Union Bank Investment and Trust Corporation, and a member of the bank's executive committee and governance and risk committees since 2023. His experience in the financial and corporate sectors adds a valuable perspective to his leadership of the pension fund. Declaro's professional background spans over 32 years, including executive roles in the public and private sectors. Declaro began his career at multinational food and beverage company Nestle Philippines in 1993, eventually holding international positions in Australia and at the Nestle headquarters in Switzerland. With his broad leadership experience across multiple industries, the appointing committee said Declaro is well equipped to lead the SSS in advancing its mandate of providing comprehensive social security protection to Filipinos.
Dateline Malacañang.
In other news, the proposed measure removing the mother tongue instruction in kindergarten to grade 3 lapsed into law without the signature of President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. Republic Act or RA 12027, or the Act discontinuing the use of mother tongue as medium of instruction, makes the use of regional languages optional in monolingual classes. Under the new law, the medium of instruction shall revert to Filipino and English, while the mother tongue will serve as auxiliary media of instruction. Section 2 of the law states that mother tongue-based multilingual education may be applied in monolingual classes provided that it complies with the following requirements. An official orthography is developed and published by the Komisyon sa Wikang Filipino or KWF. An official documented vocabulary published by the KWF, such as glossary, dictionary, encyclopedia, or thesaurus. Literature on languages and culture, such as big books, small books, picture stories, or wordless picture books. Grammar book, and the availability of teachers in the school who speak and are trained to teach in the mother tongue. A monolingual class is composed of learners who speak the same mother tongue and are enrolled in the same grade level in a given school year. The Department of Education or DepEd, in consultation with the KWF, shall develop a language mapping policy within a year from the effectivity of the law. It shall also implement a language mapping framework to properly identify and classify learners based on their mother tongue in order to systematically determine the existence of monolingual classes each school year.
Dateline Malacañang.
And finally, Department of Tourism or DOT Secretary Cristina Garcia Frasco boasted the strengthening collaboration in tourism between the Philippines and Australia, wherein the agency's latest data show that almost 200,000 Australian tourists visited the country from January to October 7th this year. This was part of the tourism chief's statement following the hosting of the DOT of Love the Philippines Tourism and Travel Forum held in Perth, Western Australia, along with the 24th World Travel and Tourism Council or WTTC Global Summit. The Secretary shared that around 62% of visitors from Australia were repeat tourists and stayed in the country for almost 13 nights to visit the Philippines' many islands and taste Filipino cuisine. Based on DOT's data, tourists from Australia are considered the 5th largest foreign visitors in the country. The forum in Perth, along with the Australia-Philippines Business Council, aims to strengthen tourism, expand business collaboration, and support overseas Filipino workers or OFWs returning to the Philippines to start tourism-related enterprises in the country.
Dateline Malacañang.
Before we conclude our program, Radyo Pilipinas World Service of the Presidential Broadcast Service is heard over the following shortwave frequencies: 15.640 MHz, 17.820 MHz, and 12.010 MHz. You can also visit our Facebook page and YouTube channel at Radyo Pilipinas World Service. You will be able to hear and view our Filipino and English programs, including news updates here in the Philippines. Kindly subscribe, like, and share our posts as well. And that concludes this edition of Dateline Malacañang. For Radyo Pilipinas World Service, this is Leo Magpayo. Good day and stay safe.
from the Presidential Palace, Manila, Dateline Malacañang.